and MHRD, MIC. The topic chosen, I think, is a very critical one, and there cannot be more appropriate topic to discuss to become a successful entrepreneur. For any enterprise, the solution to a problem and fitting the solution to the problem, is of utmost importance. If the solution does not fit the problem, it can mean major losses. Similarly, if you make a product and it does not sell in the market, or it's not what the market requires, then you make huge losses. So for an enterprise and to the entrepreneur, the issue of fitting the solutions to the problem and fitting the product to the market is of utmost importance. Now, we look forward to a lot of inspiration on this topic. I will not waste any more time by lengthening my speech. We look forward to a great event. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Now I would like to request Professor Dr. Sandip Kumar Lahiri, IIC President, Associate Professor, Department of Chemical Engineering, NIT Durgapur, to share his ideas on this program. Sir, please.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, all of you present today. And special thank to Narula Institute of Technology, Principal Ma'am, and all her team. Really, this is a very good platform to cooperate all the students, to develop a new idea, to make a new business requires a ecosystem. And unfortunately, that ecosystem was not present in our country, which actually give some motivation to the students to take entrepreneurship as their career opportunity. I'm thanking Principal Ma'am to start to take that initiative to making this ecosystem. And I think this is the first program where we are starting a great new thing to build ecosystem, so that all the students, faculties present here today, and all other students who could not present today can make maximum benefit from this type of program, and listen to the real industry leaders, and really who actually burn their hands by doing opening a new business. So really opening a new business requires you to expose on the real life problems, okay, and how a entrepreneur overcome those problems is the real thing. You don't have to make mistake and then learn. You can always learn from others' mistake. So always we can learn from other experienced people. So today's two eminent speakers are there. So I think our students, and including me, will get enriched our experience, and all of us will get it experienced. And once again, I'm thanking Narula Institute of Technology to take this initiative to make this ecosystem. And in future, I think we can collaborate more, we can visit each other, we can collaborate more, and we can make a platform, at least in Eastern India, we can make a platform where we can share students' idea and problems and their mistake, and we learn, all of us can learn from it. So thank you, and over to Dr. Rupa Bhattacharya.
Thank you, sir, for sharing your ideas. Now I would like to request Suparna Panchana, IIC President, Assistant Professor, Department of ECE, Regent Education and Research Foundation Group of Institutions. Ma'am, we would like you to share your words on this program.
Thank you, ma'am. And thank you, first of all, good afternoon to everyone present in this webinar and Narula Institute. And I think willingness to do something new is the basic criteria for an entrepreneur. And if you want to be recognized in society for your contribution, and if you want to be independent, in that case, I think this is the best way to fulfill your dreams. You can apply your knowledge and common sense to your formal education in entrepreneurial ventures. There are government schemes are there to help you. And being an entrepreneur, you not only establish yourself, but also create the scope of placement for the other people also. And now I'm not taking too much time. I just want to say that if you have new business ideas, explore it, analyze it through thoroughly, and if it is look promising and feasible, in that case you can put your best effort and materialize it. And I request all of you to join this webinar, because experts are there, they can give you the right information. So acquire the knowledge from this kind of webinar, apply it, and be an entrepreneur. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing your ideas and views on this program. Next, I would like to request Dr. Shumon Das, IIC President, Associate Professor and HOD, Department of Mechanical Engineering, Swami Vivekananda Institute of Science and Technology, to share his thoughts.
Thank you, madam. So very good afternoon to all of you, respected and honorable dignitaries in the dais, and the mentor as well as all mentee institute in the dais, honorable speakers, dear colleagues, and all the students and participants. I welcome you all as a president on behalf of the entire IIC cell of Swami Vivekananda Institute of Science and Technology. It is a great privilege for me to welcome you all in the occasion of session on achieving problem solution and fit and product market fit in this platform. The glorious presence of two eminent speakers, Mr. Taposh Piplai and Mr. B.P. Patnaik, enlightened this session as well. Their valuable ideas, thoughts, and experiences must motivate and encourage the students and participants in this session. So a heartiest congratulations to both of you, sir, on behalf of our end. Innovation is nothing but a new idea, method, and the spark of insight that leads an inventor to investigate an issue or phenomenon. Innovation increases the chances to react to changes and discover the new opportunities. It can also help foster competitive advantage, as it allows to build better products and services in the customer, for the customer. The successful exploration of new ideas is crucial to a business being able to improve its process, being new and improve products and services to market, increase its efficiency, and most importantly, improve its profitability. So innovation is important in business. Business innovation should also improve on existing products, services, or process, or it should solve the problem, or it should reach new customers. So the product fit for market means being a good market with a product that can satisfy that market. When an entrepreneur identifies a need in the market and build a solution that customer want to buy, that product fit the market. So I'm sure that this web-based session on achieving problem solution fit and product market fit must vibrant and also encourage the young and energetic aspirant minds. Through this discussion session, I hope that all the students and participants will be benefited a lot. With these few words, I once again welcome you all and wish a grand success of this session. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for your words on this program. Next, I would like to request Professor Dr. Sujit Kumar Biswas, IIC President, Dean Academics and HOD, Department of Electrical Engineering, St. Thomas College of Engineering and Technology, to share his ideas on this program. Sir, please.
Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to speak a few words. Respected Professor Kanjilal, respected Professor Amlan Chakraborty, my old acquaintances and all other dignitaries on this dais, students and other participants. Now, our country has progressed a long time since its independence. And if you recall, prior to independence, most of our requirements were met by supplies coming from abroad. Even today, we speak of Belgian glasses and Italian marbles. But what have we done for our own country past the independence? There has been post-independence, there had been a surge of activities, indigenous activities to develop products for our own need, starting with big philanthropic entrepreneurs like Tata Steel, Godrej, Bajaj, etc. have been household names since past independence. Days have progressed and the needs have shifted from core engineering manufacturing to better techniques that develop efficiency, good quality product, and the type of product that we need. We don't really require very heavy and rigid items. There has been a requirement of different dimensions in the items. Let's say, take another look at the product. I think Nirma was the first who brought detergents on a commercial scale. Prior to that, we were using only soap powder. There's a big difference between soap and detergent. And ever since, the market has changed to detergents. So these are some of the innovations that have been brought into this country for the benefit of the country. It is not always the need for an individual profit by a company. It's a need to serve the nation, to serve the humanity. And that's where our government, under the leadership of the present Prime Minister, has been asking every institution that we have got talent, but let's put it in a consolidated way in the form of institutions, Innovation Council. There has been a lot of talent. In India, we call it Jugaad. The Jugaad works. Very efficiently it works. It may surprise you how people have been using different types of Jugaads, the so-called Jugaad, for different type of activities. But why can't we put it in a very consolidated way, improve the efficiency, cut down the cost, and make it apt for the application? Fit the solution, that's the word of this afternoon today. So we have to find out a process, we have to train our younger generation to come forward and start thinking of finding solutions that fit into the requirement, not that just build a big heavy item. It's there, that is also innovation, but the innovation has to be more appropriate to the needs of the present day and the immediate future. So that's where this type of lectures by the two great people that we have today this afternoon fits in. And I request all my participants to definitely spend your time listening to them, but that's should not be the end of it. When you go back home, start thinking over and find better and better innovations to serve the humanity, to serve our nation. Thank you very much. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir, for your very relevant ideas, which is very relevant pertaining to this program also. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next, I would like to request Professor Dr. Mohua Das, IIC President, Principal, Greater Kolkata College of Engineering and Management, to share her ideas on this program. Ma'am, please.
Am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am, you are.
Thank you, Dr. Bhattacharya. A very good afternoon to all the dignitaries present in the virtual platform. At the onset, I'm thankful to Team Narula for inviting me in this webinar and giving me this chance. The path starting from the ideation through innovation towards the product development is not an easy task. There are many steps, and we have gathered here today for achieving knowledge on problem solution fit and product market fit. To be an entrepreneur, first he or she has to identify the problem, and this is not an easy task. Having reached problem solution phase means that entrepreneur should understand the customer's need, jobs to be done, and their desired outcomes. It also means that entrepreneur should create a solution that addresses the need in a unique way, as customer feedback suggests so. However, on the contrary, to widely held opinion, it doesn't mean that already they have got evidence that they would really buy it. This process actually allows entrepreneurs to understand what their customers believe about their product. The better the insight and feedback they collect, the better the decision they can make. This next inflection point in lean validation is called product market fit. When an entrepreneur identifies a need in the market and builds a solution that customers want to buy, that is product market fit. Product market fit is characterized by high level of satisfaction by a large set of customers, high retention rate and low churn rate, revenue growth, and high product usage interval. However, it is clear that how much important is these two steps for a good starter. So I'll not take much time, and I hope that this session will be an enriching one, and our students will be benefited from the event. I'm thankful to Team Narula for organizing this event and looking for a great event. Thank you all. Over to Dr. Bhattacharya.
Thank you, ma'am, for sharing your very valuable thoughts. Once again, on behalf of Narula Institute of Technology, I would like to thank all the dignitaries, all the speakers, and we have been enriched with their thoughts, with their ideas. And with this, we end with the inaugural session of this program on achieving problem solution fit and product market fit. Now, I would like to request Dr. Chandrima Chakraborty to take over the session. Dr. Chandrima Chakraborty. Dr. Chandrima Chakraborty, are you there?
Yes, madam.
Yes. Okay, where is Dr. Chandrima?
Yes, madam. Yes, madam.
Okay,
yes,
okay.
Madam.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I hand over the session.
So now I like to introduce Mr. Taposh Piplai sir, who is one of the today's speaker. Taposh Piplai sir is Executive Director and CEO of Capability Enhancement Center, Pune. For last 34 years, Mr. Piplai is serving in different organizations as senior or top level management, and his focus is on always been on development of new processes and created a human resources with new leadership inputs. Mr. Piplai's areas of expertise are growth of business, profitability, operations, people management, and so on. He has actively participated in different important processes like client relationship management, branding, digital marketing, pricing, TQM, and so on. He is invited as guest lecturer at various auto component forums on business growth and management. Mr. Tapush Piplai has also published book on Indian economy, real growth or virtual growth. He was associated with ATA Informatics as Chief Business Advisor and also associated with other organizations. Now, with this brief introduction, I request Mr. Tapush Piplai, sir, to start your session. Sir, please.
Sir, are you available?
Sandhya, can you please?
Yeah,
call?
I'm just.
Yes.
Sir, I think, sir, it would be better if you could unmute yourself, sir. Sir, we are not able to hear you, sir. So could you please unmute yourself?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Now it's perfect. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Can we start?
Yes, sir. Now it's
Yes,
audible.
sir. Good afternoon to all of you, all the virtual speakers, listeners, everybody. It is very difficult to remember all the names. I express my inability to specially thank to everybody by name. But in any case, first of all, I would like to convey my sincere thanks to Professor Kanjilal, who is the principal of this Narula Institute of Technology, and also to Sandhya, who helped me in every step regarding and for her warm welcome. I also thank all other participants, dignitaries, and certainly I will miss the name. I should not miss the name of Omlan, who is a good friend of mine now, and he is, I think, vice president of your institute, but I don't know him as a vice president, otherwise as Omlan. So let's start after conveying my thanks to everybody. Before that, let me introduce myself a little bit. As everybody has said already about my introduction, I'm presently working in the Capability Enhancement Center in Pune. Earlier to that, I was in Kent RO system as the Executive Vice President. Prior to that, my long tenure was in Chennai as a Lucas TVS Senior Vice President. And therefore, just for your information, I have handled quite a few new business introduction, not only the product, it includes product, it includes process, it includes everything. Prior to that, I was in Sikal Limited in Chennai. That was also around 2,000 crore company as the COO. And I'm not talking about others. Before that, I was in Hindustan Motors, etc. Mostly, I was focused on automobile all along, apart from a brief tenure in Kent. Just a minute. Now, before getting into the business or the right discussion, let us concentrate on the heading of today's discussion, that is problem solution and product market fit. One of the speakers just now mentioned to understand the customer requirement and the satisfaction. To be very frank, even after working for 34 years, I feel I have not progressed an inch in understanding the customer requirement. It is an evolving area and continuously it is changing. It is very difficult really to understand customer expectation Maybe that point of time, it was the expectation as expressed by the customer, but not as a permanent solution. So there requires the continuous approach or continuous focus on how to solve the process of getting these problems from the customer. Hope I am not fully clear, so I'm just explaining with one example. Say we used to make the starter motor, for the vehicle. When you are cranking your key, there is a noise, and after that it gets started. Now we started thinking long back that how to avoid that crank, and it should start automatic. The moment I will put the ignition key, it will start, or there will be some sort of button which if I press, there should not be any noise and it should start. That is the idea suddenly came to the mind of one of our colleagues, junior, senior, whatever it is. And we started. So you understand that after that, we tried almost on the verge of developing the noiseless starter. It is a very interesting area. That how to develop that starter without any cranking noise. And that is a new idea. That is the new vision. That is the new venture. That is the entrepreneurship. Hope I am quite clear now to all of you. Let me tell you about my example very briefly. One day in Lucas TVS, I was in a very senior position, senior vice president, and our chairman was Mr. T.K. Balaji. Rather, he is Mr. T.K. Balaji. He is very well educated, and he is also related to the TVS family. Now, he once called me and asked that I'm giving you a big piece of land, one you won't believe, dilapidated building, and with 4 people, very junior, and you develop a business. And that business should be aligned with the automobile, which is the focus of TVS Group. That is the group vision. Now, this is all he told me within 3 minutes to 4 minutes session with me, because no chairman will give more time to anybody. So he just gave me, and I just bowed my head and came out. Then I started thinking how to really develop this new idea to a product, to a business, to the people engagement, to whatever the things that is encouragement of the new job opportunities, so many things. So I started thinking. Then I had been to Delhi after that meeting for some other work, for my that time existing work, and I saw in Maruti, there is a fan. If you can remember your car, there is a fan motor which is just behind that radiator. Okay. Now that is starting. If you remember that time, the ambassador, sometime it gets stopped, and we have to crank that with a wheel or with a rod, and after that it gets started. If you remember. Now that time Maruti first brought is a motorized fan. Prior to that, it was a mechanical force. It was not an electrical force, right? So I was thinking whether this can be a good product for us. And I started looking at who are the principal makers of this particular product. Finally, I could list down, there are three technical collaborators. I repeat, the technical collaboration, which is the most important to any new venture. Now, what is that? Who are they? They are the Johnson Electric Italy. The other 2 are in Germany. So I just made a blind visit there. And somehow or other, they are convinced, provided we do not take away the manufacturing. Now I'm coming to the problems also. We are not taking out the manufacturing facility from them. And so, because they will be losing the revenue in that case. So it started very nicely. I started talking to them. Then suddenly they mentioned there is a new company came to India recently, and they are taking directly from us the fan motor. It's a big product. So I asked them who. They mentioned this is Ford Motor Company. And incidentally, that Ford Motor Company is in Chennai, and it was very near to our factory. So I just made a blind visit to Ford, and then I started selling that idea. First, the technology. There should not be any downtrend of the technology, because it is consisting of 3 sub-assemblies. And those 3 sub-assemblies will be first importing from Italy, and will be making the sub-assemblies into one assembly. So the engineering excellence lies there in the assembly part. assembly part, that is in your engineering language, you'll be knowing it better, that interference fit and the tolerance limit accordingly. So we had gone, somehow or other they told us to start with 100 number, and we brought, and you won't believe, suddenly that business grew. Then we had gone to Fiat, Bombay, and they immediately gone for that particular product because our collaborator's name was very high. I'm not elaborating that story, but that is a clear-cut the idea. Now, when I left that particular division of Lucas TVS and I switched over to other, that time from zero turnover, it went up to 160 crores annual turnover with 4 people, which I told you, the number of employees gone up to 110, and the profitability is quite high that I'm not supposed to disclose right now. However, the profit was very high. So this is actually the new project, new product, new business. Whatever name you can call it, that is different thing. So this is actually the relationship between the problem solution. Problem solution was initially here, the import substitution. And what is the product market? That localization of that particular product, that is the fan motor, which we started. And molding and entire thing we started localizing, but not the motor initially. It was a phased way we localized it, because that is also a part of customer's expectation. Customer will not allow you to localize it so easily. There is a fixed procedure that you have to make some 5 number, then 100 number, then the full shift, then you have to test it in your lab, then you have to give it to the torture testing, which I'll come to one after another point slowly later. So apart from that, the market environment was highly volatile, because today the demand is there, tomorrow may not be there, which you have seen in last 2 years. Maybe maybe because of COVID or whatever it may be, but as business, the volatility was there. Uncertainty of future was also there. Complexity, yes, it is. Complexity means it is not a question of handling multi-product. Even if for single product, there is a complexity in handling that. And ambiguity is there, that no clarity about the how to meet that excellence level of the customer. That it is very difficult to meet that excellence level. I feel let us keep it that it is unreachable. If today we are getting into a small cottage, we will think about a big house, we will go into the big house, we'll think about the palace. It is a continuous evolution of the requirement is there. Hello? So there is a solution also. This is called in the management language VUCA, VUCA, which is also replaced by another set, which is also called VUCA. That is that beat is the vision which I was given when I was asked to handle that new product or the new initiative. I was told that the vision is to be in the automobile. It should be the quality focus. TVS is known for that. That excellence in quality has to be there. It doesn't matter what is the price, what are the processes you are going to follow. And that understanding should be there between the customer, supplier, and all the business associates, and also it includes rather your competitors. We were supposed to keep very good contact with the competitors. We were having a small team of competitors, and we used to meet once in 2 months in different places of the country. Then it comes the clarity, and it should be there in place of complexity, and the agility was there to get rewarded, and also the people who were around you. Now, naturally, it has got 3 basic pillars. Okay, any business you are talking about the problem fit or the solution fit, it has got basically the 3 pillars. One pillar is the entrepreneurship, that is very important pillar, and the second pillar is the NPI, NPD we call it, that is the new product introduction and the new product development. These 2 are very simple 6 letters, but it is not so. Pages after pages can be drawn on that, and which are nothing but the processes that we have to follow. And one more thing which has recently come up, that is the corporate social responsibility or CSR. So these are the 4 pillars which we have to address in order to make the success in this sort of heading, whatever the discussion heading we have put it, problem solution fit versus product market fit. So these pillars are very important, and which I expect that you have now understood the importance of it. The first portion is the innovation. If I recall clearly that in my earlier lectures, maybe in this university, I have already addressed that, ideas should be there as the innovation first before it takes the idea of startup. Startup is not so easy. This is not a linear progression. Okay, at innovation you have innovated something. Tomorrow you are making the startup. After one day you are making this. No, maybe innovation to startup it may take 1 year, perhaps, or 1 month, or 6 months, or 6 weeks. It all depends on the processes. And immediately after that, there are the test procedures. There are n number of procedures before it is rolling out to the business as a business. Business or the meeting the expectation of the customer is a very tough thing. There are multiple processes, and this is not a very simple linear process. It may be a curve. It is a non-linear process, no doubt. Exactly which process it will take or which shape it will take, that is different. So entrepreneurship generates new business and employment. One prior to me, one speaker introduced that. Yes, it includes new business and it generates new employment. But again, that employment is not in today's way. That is, I remember in Hindustan Motors, we are having almost 12,000 people, making some 2,400 vehicles, ambassadors in an entire year. But Ford was making 5/10 of that with less people, minimum 5/10 less than the people what Hindustan Motors was having. There lies the innovations. It is another innovation of the process. Innovation is not always a product. Please understand. Innovation is the process. Innovation is the selection of raw material. Innovation is the selection of machinery. Innovation is selection of jigs, fixtures, and so many things. Everything is innovation, provided it meets the target of competitive edge, cost, and the technology. Okay, so entrepreneurship, it depends on that. And believe me, I have seen in my own eyes, in my own companies, all these companies, that the innovative ideas are coming from very low level, sometimes by the supplier. But you should know how to translate those ideas into some workable solution. There lies the real job of engineers, what I believe all of you are. So nobody is born entrepreneur. It all depends on how you are translating that idea into in your language, it is a startup. In my language, the new sample. So innovation is the central driver to economic growth, no doubt about it. Without that, growth cannot happen. In today's market, you will see the application of so many IT tools everywhere. And that is also an innovation, and the application is also an innovation. So everything is innovation, whatever you are doing new, but it has got a process. That process needs to be observed, and that processes should be captured from the actual company, actual manufacturer, actual performer. Otherwise, it will be too theoretical. Now, all these things will lead to the social change that you can understand today. Also, there are not too many workers who are really working with so much of weight or luggage or something. Now they are all operating from either from home or whatever it is. So there is a social change. Now, while talking about that, let us just see 1 or 2 or 3 pages of history. That if you really go into the process of this industrial evolution, you will first see that initially there is that we call the first stage of the mechanization. There we used to do the weight. We used to pulley. We used to apply. We used to apply so many these things in the technological evolution that will reduce the human labor. Let us underline this point. that human labor used to get reduced from in the first industrial revolution. Second industrial revolution, it became the mass production. Mass production means initially it was the replacement of mechanical engineering. In the second phase, it came the application of electrical engineering. That is, how to operate, say 20 machines together. How to operate the fixture change or jigs change in 20 machines together. And 20 machines will give you the 20 outputs instead of doing one. This is the second phase of the engineering or the industrial thing. Third phase became the application of computer, and by that you know that very well. That means the new generation people, they know. The next one is the fourth, that is the 4.0, that industrial revolution 4.0. That is the fourth. That I'm coming slightly in an elaborate way. Usually these are the tools which we use in our industry nowadays in a big way. It is coming, that is the big data, autonomous robo. You know this autonomous robo. They are trying now that robo should also able to think about the way human thinks. The way I think, you think, that robo should also think. That is a neural reading they are capturing, and that is an autonomous robo. And why I'm mentioning these are the structures, because today's any new venture should have the application of at least 1 or 2 or 3 or all of them. Otherwise, you will be behind the competition. Simulation, you will be behind. Now, say if you want to make one house in your area, what you have to do? There is a tool by which you are capturing that entire, after the drawing, you are capturing the entire house, and you will know what is the amount of iron you require, what is the amount of cement you require, what will be the cost today. So what would be the costing? That you will be coming to know immediately. There is an augmented reality. That is these are the different tools which are coming, apart from the Internet of Things and other things that also you should know. I'm just touching about, because all these slides together, single way, it should be a big lecture, which I'm not telling. So I started with the connection between these two fits. Then I'm coming to how you can make that fit and what are the background of the industry which is coming. If you look at India today, it might be a mixture of second, third. 4.0, it has not come in India in that way. Only a very few are there. So these two are there, 2.0 and 3.0. 4.0 is yet to come. It is a big scope for innovation for you. You can all think that which application you can do for the 4.0. Now you are having that, what it is called, drone. Where a drone can also be applied for the industry. That you can also think. So now any process, if you are seeing that it has gotten leadership criteria, the first one. I'm not getting into the details again. Second one is the strategic planning has to be there. One is the leader, that is not enough. We can have a number of leaders, but strategic planning should be there. Then you should have a product focus. That what focus it should be there, existing customer, existing market, etc., etc. Like that, I'm not getting into the details, but apart from only one thing, that is 3 Ps, people, planet, profit. These 3 should be there. Okay. You know about the people, planet. Nowadays, the balance sheets are required to be produced involving people, planet, and profit. Okay. Entrepreneurship, I've already told you about the nanotechnology, IoT, then AI. AI is a very big idea which is coming into this entrepreneurship. You can think about in a small way. What could we say if you can think that you can give us the predictive techniques? You are all equipped in the statistics as well as the engineering. You think about the product, that if you make some tweaking somewhere, you can hit that particular figure in the coming 4 years. That is the predictive first one. Then you go to the making of the entire thing. And there the processes are coming. Now innovation, there are fundamentally few blocks are there. That is idea generation. Now in idea generation, I can just tell you, just for example, there are a number of ways you can make the ideas. From the source point of view, idea generation, that is customer, supplier, employee, distribution channel members, government, they are also encouraging this idea generation, educational departments, focus groups. There are plenty. And what you'd like to do after forming the group? After forming the group, you have to create a vision again. And if you want to create a vision, you need to do some brainstorming, right? It should be brainstorming, no more that you start the product or you do this. What is this brainstorming and reverse brainstorming? Reverse brainstorming and brainstorming that you are discussing with a number of new ideas. Let it be anything. Let it be any random ideas. Let it be very simple, which should be thrown out. But you must discuss on that brainstorming. There should not be any boundaries. So one is the brainstorming, then generating the idea, asking anybody to make a story. There are various ways we used to make it. The brainstorming, let me tell you, in our company we used to do, that is, we ask them to make to prepare everybody, say between, say in automobile, the steering and the wheel movement, rotation. Now you make a story that what you feel should be the connectivity. And by that analyzing, you will see that maybe somebody is suggesting some abolition of processes. And it will make the entire time cycle, or which we call cycle time, or the turnaround time, very short. That is a big innovation, right? That will give you the cost benefit. Either you will have the cost benefit or distinctiveness or the technical superiority looking at the long term. So it will give a very good cost idea. Next, you go to the SWOT analysis, which you will know. SWOT means strength, weakness, opportunity to threat. And while you are analyzing the SWOT, you will come to know so many points which are not answered in your SWOT paper. And that all can create some sort of innovative thinking. Innovation that way is very important. And next one is coming the value proposition for any innovation. What sort of value company is going to get? It is a long term. In long term, what? This is what you have to know and why you should know. I'm not talking about the 5Y analysis or YO, but W and 1O, that how. I'm talking about first you know what benefit I'm going to get. Say in your institute, if you can think, yes, all the classes should be demolished and you should start the classes like Vishwabharati in the very big campus. Okay, fine. Then by that, what value you are going to get? It is not a change which is required. What you require, that is a value to society, as somebody has just mentioned, or value to students, value to teachers. What way that value is getting inculcated or inflicted to the system? Okay. Then, as I was just mentioned, 5 why and 1 how. These two are very also important. That is, we used to say in our childhood or later on also in the colleges or maybe in the TVS group, it was a very common thing that why, if you ask question 5 times, if you ask why, perhaps you will reach the ultimate Brahma. That is, you cannot answer. Maybe after 3 whys, you cannot answer. Then you will see how your knowledge is getting shrunk to that level. So once you do the why analysis, after that, that should be purely in an Ishikawa diagram or the fishbone diagram. And after that, you should do that thing how. And you came to know that he is the root cause. Now, how to eliminate that root cause? How to give him training? That the H is very also important. Okay. So 5W and 1H is the name of that particular idea which any industry they do nowadays. If you go to an industry, you will see. These are the things also one should know. And please, for God's sake, removing all the assumptions that I have done it because of that. That because is very important. But why that because? Have you come to know that because is very important? And can you quantify? That is another Deming's theory. That if you cannot quantify the problem, that means you have not gone even 1 millimeter towards the problem. If you cannot quantify. Quantification of the problem is very, very important. So that is not my language. This is Deming. You might be knowing who is the all-time quality guru. They are calling Deming, and in his name the awards are also there. And there is a forced relationship. Idea generation I'm talking about, and also it is very important for your new product. That is forced relationship means if I tell you you are yourself, and then I'm talking about one thing, that is the bus. Now these are the two objects I'm giving it to you. You have to create the relationship. You make the story, I don't mind, but create the relationship. And once that relationship is created in terms of flowchart, I'm telling you that maybe I'm going to college every day morning, so I have to come out, I have to go to the stop, I need a vehicle to reach, so I need a bus. The bus is very crowded. So like I make a story up to reaching your destination. And you will see that how many propositions it is giving to you to make the new ideas. I am repeating, it is not the product alone, it is the idea which gives you the new product. Okay. Now, we used to do, I still remember, we were having a very big training room in the, again, TVS group. There in the blackboard, we used to make a story that there all the stories used to be there for 7 days. So people can go, even the bosses, they can go, they can understand, they can take the cue to develop it further. Okay, so these are the fundamental scenarios I told you. I told you about the market scenario. Now stages of industrial evolution I've just mentioned. Now, if you are coming to the history, as I mentioned to you, the collective farming and etc. Then what is very important for the Indian engineers in the industry for any new product, that is the quality. At no cost, quality should be compromised. Okay, at no cost, quality cannot be compromised. And can I just take a break for 2 minutes, 2-3 minutes? Sandhya?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Just 2-3 minutes, I'm coming.
Yeah, sure, sir. So I would like to request all the students to just rename themselves with the name of the institute so that it will be easy for us to take the count. Your name underscore the abbreviation of your institute, please.
Yeah, can we start?
Yes, sir, please.
The first one is the quality, which even my idea also goes like that. Adherence to quality is always a very low priority in the industry of most of the Indian companies. Let me be very frank, let me be very rude. That adherence to quality, that we always do, okay, this will do, but it is not done outside. With my exposure abroad, I've never seen, if the tolerance is 5 ± 1, that is 4 to 6, even if it is 3.8, it is summarily getting rejected. Next one is coming to the standards. Okay, we should have a standard. That is very important. If you read history, you will see even during the time of Indus Valley civilization, we got the stamp. Stamp means it is adhering to everything. That standard is required. Quality and the standard, that is also a little bit poor in India. new technologies, we should always have that thirst that technology should be there. Technology should be there. Without technology, nothing can happen. Even if we read the Newton's laws of motion, we should think that what new technologies we can derive from that laws. It is very important. That Industry 4.0 and all these things, whatever we are telling, it is all because of the derivation of the technology from the physics, old physics book, whatever we have studied, all the engineering books. Then the logistics. It is emerging to be a very powerful nowadays topic. That in logistics, how we should go ahead. That logistics is very important. Market demand, you cannot forecast it very accurately. It is impossible. Long term means it is absolutely no chance, but you should have an idea that next year, are we expecting a dip in the sale? If the dip is there, it is not that knowledge is very important. How to make it up? Should we go to the rural market? Should we go to Sundarban to sell our product in the forest? That all depends on the engineers or the marketing specialists. But our thing is not to just to know the fact, how to change the trend. That is the most important. And that should be a new one. Continuously you have to think of innovation. I still remember in Pune, some girls came to us and we suggested them to go for some sort of, that woolen things, but it should be a very big scale. And those few girls had gone to the bank and asked for that venture capitalist or whatever, that loan or whatever it is, and they got that loan. Now they are very big leaders in Pune market on that woolens. They are making a huge quantity. Their costs have come down, and they are now going for technologies. What are the technologies they can give? They can think. Like, I'm not telling you like passport, you should think about putting the chips. That is a little bit higher technology you can think of. But the fact is, we never thought. This particular passport thing also we have never thought. We came to know from the newspaper. Now we are thinking that is a good thing. But we never thought. How many of us thought about it as the budding engineers? Never. So this is also very important, and also never think about not going to the export market. That is also very important. Okay. Now, I'm not going to the environment or all these things. Now we are coming to the NPI, NPT, which I told you, that is the new product introduction and new product development. I think this is a very, very important point, which we should all know, and we should always think. The first is the formation of team. And the team should be drawn, team members always should be all the functional departments. Maybe one person can represent 3 functional departments. It does not make any big bad things. But the department should be properly represented with the proper minutes of the meeting of each meeting in a definite format. Now, problem definition, that is also very important. Problem definition is what? My target maybe is to start the meeting at 4 o'clock. We could not start it, and we are starting it at 4:10. Now, that 10 minutes is the variance. Don't think I'm giving an example. I'm just asking that what is the 10 minutes? Why it has happened? Not to blame anybody. What is the 10 minutes? Was our planning faulty, or we should have started the work maybe 10 minutes prior to 4 to start it at 4, or somebody was coming from very distant area. It is very difficult for him to reach, but he's a key speaker, but he could not reach. So naturally we have to wait. So these are all put together is the definition of problem. It is very important. I repeat the word definition of problem. Okay. And usually the outcome of the meeting nowadays, we are all having the formats. Format number 1, format number 2A, format number 2B, 3A, 3B, 3C, 4. These are all called TQM formats, okay, total quality management format. It is basically in 4 or 5 parts. One is the management quantifier. Maybe overall we'd like to reduce the warranty. Now warranty, has it been reduced? Now the exact problem of that warranty may be the transportation failure in YY. Now that particular thing has been reduced. So like that, for one particular problem in the MOM or minutes of the meeting, then finally it comes, the name of the owner, what is the tentative date you will be able to finish it. And that date also, we never used to take it like that okay, I'll do it within 7 days. What is the process for the coming 7 days? So that you will be able to finish. So this formatting is very important. Usually we are having one secretary. Secretary means not the assistant or the PA. Secretary is also a qualified engineer in our company. He used to write all these minute proceedings in a very meticulous way. And his target was, it should be circulated before 10 o'clock next day morning, if it is happening the meeting previous day. Or sometimes they are taking in the laptop immediately. Targets, again, as I told you, it should be always quantitative with numbers. Even if it is date, it should be a date. Even if it is owner name, you should have the owner name with the employee number. Everywhere the number should be there, should be there, should be there. Otherwise, it cannot be acceptable by the chairman's office. Next comes the idea generation, which I have already told you. And idea screening is very important. Screening is always defining the boundaries. Okay, after defining the boundaries, we come to the idea screening. So maybe it is a good idea, but we cannot take it. Somebody is taking the total automation or applying the robo in the manufacturing thing, but we cannot do it because our thing is not a fully mechanized. Our workshops are in between. So idea screening is very important thing. There is a fixed procedure. Okay, concept developing and testing. Somebody it is some people they say alpha testing. That is once you are developing the proto and whatever you are developing, that should also be tested in the lab. Okay, that you can produce in the existing machinery, existing fixture, existing jigs, existing instrument with some sort of jugaad things you can do. But here the basic thing is the concept testing. Concept developed, whether it can be developed and whether it can be tested. Now the technology positioning, by doing it, where you'd like to reach in the market. In the product category, if you want to be in the product category, say you want to be in the scooter category. Now in the scooter category, where you'd like to be? Should it be an orbit shifting jump? Like just now we heard about Nirma, right? That is a very good big test case in the product thing. Not only with Nirma, there are various things that yes, from the existing soap powder, we have made an orbit shifting jump towards the detergent. So that is also another technological positioning, but there it doesn't end. When the department or the thing they are freezing that, they have to also say by another 5 years where you'd like to go, which comes the next. Design upgradation vision. See, let me tell you, whenever we used to go to Mahindra or Volkswagen for our business, we first used to meet the engineering department top person just to ask, where you would like to be after 5 years in terms of vehicles? Right now you are doing this, you are doing that, fine. And we need our share of business. For that, we are fighting with you on price, with quality, on delivery schedule. And we will be having our schedule meeting up every day basis, hourly basis. All these things are fine. That will give the existing business. Now you tell us that after 5 years, where Maruti would like to be in terms of technology. Would you like to go for the fanless fan? That means there should not be a blade, but we will get the air. Very interesting point, right? However, I'm not getting into the details. This is also another thing. So that sort of design upgradation vision is very important from the manufacturers if you really work with your new product, new design, or even for your job. So another important thing when you are dealing with the external customer, that is those who are in abroad, say whether it's France or in Germany or in anywhere, Italy, they'll first ask for your protection of the policy against your environment. Environment means, are you doing any hamper or any bad things to your soil, to your water, to your air? It's very important. environment. Then what about the employees' health? What about the employees' safety? All policies, if you can show, then only they will consider for your factory visit for evaluation of your process. So this is also a very important aspect of your NPI NPD. You cannot just make a product and go to some big customers, say in US, and ask them to take your product. Maybe you are giving a good cost, but if they are taking you as a regular supplier, direct supplier, not to the system supplier, direct supplier, you have to qualify all these environment, health, safety factors. Now, when you are making a plan or design, we call it Design Failure Mode and Effect Analysis, DFMEA, which is also a process of your NPI NPD. That what are the failure modes you have already factored in your design? That these are the failures, against that I'm having my protection. And whether in the DFMEA, say you are making a drone. Now, if the air pressure is less, will it run? If your fuel is burnt out, will it totally collapse? Or you are having some other failure mode, counter that failure mode, you can also float. Sorry, somebody is asking something.
Any questions from the audience?
No, I'll come to that. Okay.
Oh, fine.
I'll come to that. Now, you have to also, next one, for any NPI NPD, you should have a vision for future. That is the projected cost. Cost is very important. Cost is not the price minus the material. Cost is everything. Their cost means, what should I say, the overhead cost, logistics cost, then total accountable cost. That means whatever the fixed cost you have already incurred in terms of building, machinery, and if you apportion it over 5 years, 10 years as per their projected life, each particular item will absorb an element of cost. And if you put that cost and the entire costing figure, what we call it, the total accountable cost, TAC or TC, some companies also say, we make it for 3 years. You should have a 3 years projected P&L, 3 years projected cost sheet. Okay. And another part is the designing and the tolerance analysis, I think, which you know it much better than me. Third one is the material analysis. Material specification as per your IIC standard, as per your London Metal Exchange, as per your Shanghai Metal Exchange, they're all different. So you need to know what material you'll be using and what is that analysis. Then comes the production flow that is also made by the NPI NPD. How will you make it? Now, if you think about there are 5 processes to make one pencil, you will see that maybe first process is okay, you are giving some raw material. Second process, apart from raw material, you are also giving one more product. Third, another component is also getting inflected on that flow. So total, this is a one is a horizontal flow, which we think, another is a vertical flow. So these are the 2 things also are to be designed in the NPI NPD. As I told you, NPI NPD, it sounds to be only 6-letter word. It is not so easy, but at the same time, once you are getting used to it, it is not so tough either. There is a turnaround time. That means from first machine to last machine, if you are making, what is the total time you are taking? And on that basis, what should be the capacity of that line? And based on that, you are finalizing the MFTG. The full form of MFTG is the machine, fixture, tool, and gauges. And these all 4 will be specific to different requirement of the product. And same way, I'm not going for a bigger analysis. We are making for the process flow analysis also, which is called PFMEA. Okay. Then we do the market strategy analysis. How will you go? Will you start your marketing from Andaman, or you'd like to start from your Calcutta market, or you will go to Pune or Bombay? How will you? Or you'd like to be a second level supplier, maybe the person who is supplying to your, what should I say Intel US. You would like to be the sub-supplier. That is also a good strategy, but you should have a clear-cut strategy. And you should be having, everything starts with a drawing. With the C level, B level, that I'm not going into that details, but drawing is required. Then comes the business analysis, which I told you the SWOT. OT are the two important parts, that market opportunity and market threats. Then the product should be developed, as I told you. And the torture analysis, this is a very important and interesting point. And see, today we are thinking about the warranty, right? That it is giving us the 1 year warranty. What does it mean? No engineering department tests with 1 year or 2 years like that. What we tested, say for a vehicle again, coming to that, it is being used for 3 hours a day at a speed of 30 kilometers per hour. So 3 hours a day. Now we are going for a 300 days a year. So 900 hours total. And we would like to make it for 2 years. That means 1800 hours. Are you clear about the deduction? 1800 hours. Now we are testing the product on a cycle in the lab. Say if it is for the steering, continuously moving. Now with that we are testing it for 2000 hours. And that is the testing of the product. Next comes the torture of the product. We are continuously progressing on that test. Did it fail? That is called failure. And we see that up to 3000 hours it can withstand. Even at that 3000, we saw the main thing that ball bearing is coming out. Ball bearing means those balls are getting fixed there with some sort of grease. Nowadays it is greaseless, however. Now, so that with the temperature continuous friction that is coming out. So whether that can be changed and making it at 3500 hours. Once we are making 3500 hours, then we are taking the 50% of that and declaring it as warranty. That means, say, around 1700 hours, 1800 hours with 30 kilometers, which works out to 1 year to 1 year 5 months. Okay. So it is very important to make that torture analysis in the engineering lab or in the engineering firm, or your concept should be clear. Next one comes the positioning in the market. In market, how you are getting your product as positioned. Manufacturing strategy, there is a very big area. I think that requires a really a new session for put together. Vendor development, it is also similar to manufacturing strategy, but that is also important. Now it is the packaging and transportation. It is emerging as a very, very important area for any NPI, NPD you think of. If you are thinking of making one new product and planning to deliver it somewhere in Italy or Germany, you have to think about it will be loaded in the ship. So till ship, it should go by a truck. So you have to think about the packaging and the tolerance of the packaging, which is virtually one more engineering job you have to think of. And distribution channel finalization. If you are giving it in India, which is the distribution channel you will follow? Communication. How should be your talk? Whether your talk means your voice control, your facial expression, your body movement, all put together is the communication, apart from your writing. Now, this communication, how will you talk? How will you modulate your voice? Everything is under training nowadays. Even in the dining table, how you should eat, whether you should keep your elbow on the table or you should not keep. Everything is being taught because most of the discussions are happening over a breakfast table or lunch table or dinner table with the customers. Otherwise, in the communication room, it is only the blackboard and some projections, right? And accordingly, the trainings are being important. I hope I have now making you quite tedious session, which you never thought of perhaps. I am not getting into the details of quality analysis. There is a very big books altogether and quality tools, including the design of experiment. Ishikawa diagram, as I told you, is just like a fishbone. There are various tools and various targets, and PFMEA upgradation is very important, which I'm telling you, once I got fired by my chairman, he came to the line, production line, and he asked me that when you have last updated your PFMEA document, that is for the process failure mode. I told him 1 year back. He got, that means within 1 year, there is no change, no failure. How it can? You're telling lies. And it is true, I was telling lies. I thought that it is a very big point. That I have not changed the PFME in last 1 year. So now we are coming to the last slide of this particular NPI NPD. It is continuous development problem, PDCA cycle of Deming. It is a very important. Anything you first plan, then do, then check, then action. Okay, everything you can explain in this PDCA cycle. Again, it will go to the plan. So if you go to TVS Motor, you will see the today's plan, they call it SDC. Tomorrow's thing, they call it PDC. And it is a reversible arrow. And the next one is a feel good. This I have learned from the BMW, Germany. So they first consider whether it is looking good. Are you feeling good with this product? That is the first point of quality or improvement. Then comes to continuous improvement. You know that Kaizen, that continuously it should be improved. People should ask you what you have done yesterday, you should not repeat it today. There should be some, at least iota of improvement. If you have taken in this way, you should do it in tomorrow. What is your plan? What is your P? What is your D? So all these things are very important. Last one, as somebody was mentioning, customer satisfaction index, where the inputs are continuously changing, and you can do it in some sort of distribution of weight or the simple average. That is up to the company to decide. So this is the NPI NPD, which I think you should all understand. Now I'm just closing my lecture session here with a request that if anybody is having any question, you can ask.
Any questions from the audience? You can unmute yourself and you can ask the questions.
Is anybody asking?
Is any questions from the audience? I think any questions, please ask. Sir, I suppose.
Where is Amlan? Where is Professor Amlan Chakravarti?
Here I am, yes.
Yeah, ask me some questions. There will be some friendly questions. That it was so boring, that also you can be raised. Yes, sir.
Any questions from the audience? The session is open for question answer.
I have a question. I am a student from NIT Durgapur.
Yeah.
Sir, as you've mentioned about all the kind of analysis that we have to do before launching a product and doing all the kind of homework that we need to do. So, but the way you've explained, I guess it needs a lot of people, I mean, a lot of efforts. So how many team members should we at least have to do that? Because initially when we are on the verge of launching a product, there is not a lot of team that we have. We only have a few people, and then afterwards people go on joining us when the product becomes a little open to the market and people start liking it. So what about the team that should be initially there?
Yeah, my answer to your question is that there are two types of things. That is, one is to business, when you are already in business and you are developing new product project. There you are having the contribution from different departments. Now, if you are an individual, say you are representing Durgapur Engineering College or somewhere, and you would like to make, you can make an incubator, right? You can make some concept. But if you decide that no, I will be the funding, no, you cannot do that funding. For that, you need a team member who can help you in getting the fund from bank or from venture capitals. What we used to do. So these are all required. So for what is your definition of new product, that you need to be very clear. What is your your definition? Would you like to roll it up to the industry? Yes, you need everything to be done. Whether it can be done by 10 people or 5 people or with the consultant, that is a different, another aspect of discussion. If I'm clear, you should tell me. Okay. Now, if you are not, in that case, there will be you will bound to fail tomorrow, and that will be a very big bad thing. Now, if you think about some new projects now, like that Ola Cabs, or you Bulls Group, or Flipkart, Zomato, Snapshot, Snapdeal, Paytm, you know how many times they failed, how many times internally they have failed, and they have done by the PDC. You cannot think about doing that excellent one in the first shot. Okay, there will be continuous failure and continuous development, but you should have a clear focus. It is not a question of manpower. I feel it is a question of focus. You should know the process where you are failing. But if it is a genuine failing, you should go and with proper folded hands, you have to express it to the customer. Whether it is an individual customer or an institution, that is different thing. And they will help you. I have personally failed 2 times with BMW Germany. And you won't believe, when I had gone there after taking the coffee, they in fact solved the problem on my behalf. They took my engineering team in Chennai in the conference call and they solved. And that eventually gave me a very big business strength, opportunity. So it is not a question of number again, madam, what I say. It is not a question of number of persons. There are having so many outsourced departments or the agencies. You have to get it done. If you have to get some failure, if you have to prove your product, you have to do the failure. There cannot be any shortcut method. Digitally, you can prove today. That is a good thing if you can do. But digital proving is not so easy. It's not so cheap either. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Any further questions? Anyone else having any questions? Please ask. Sir, I think.
Yeah.
So we are over with the first session. Thank you very much, sir, for the excellent session and all the insights you have given. On behalf of the IIC section of Narula Institute of Technology and all the mentor institutes and the mentor institute, thank you very much for this excellent session, sir.
I also extend my thanks to all of you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. So we proceed with the session, next session. So may I request now Miss Sushmita Das. Mr. I would like to confirm, Mr. BP Patnaik, are you available?
I'm there.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Welcome. So I would like to request now Ms. Sushmita Das to kindly introduce Mr. B.P. Patnaik, the CEO of CGO Incubators, Odisha.
Thank you, madam. Welcome everyone. So right now, I would like to say a few words about Dr. B.P. Patnaik, sir. So he is currently the CEO of CGU Incubators, Odisha, and he's an MTech in Energy and MBA in Marketing. He had started his professional career with the engine and generator tycoons like Cummins and Perkins Asia Pacific way back in 2004 as a business promotion executive, and always been keeping a diversified interest. He nurtured his interest of teaching in one of the premier engineering universities of Odisha for a decade and spent most of the time with development, training, and project consulting with students, being an integral part of everything he does. Later, bringing more diversification in the career, Mr. Patnaik joined MSME, Government of India Technology Center as a project consultant for deploying various government projects in rural clusters and to projects with Industry 4.0 and smart manufacturing. Mr. Patnaik, being keen in bringing sustainable livelihood into rural clusters of India, in that go, he had surveyed more than 100 villages in Odisha and Jharkhand to understand the opportunities of livelihood generation and its energy dependence. He had been integral in deploying 2 smart villages in Odisha with successful cyber physical social model. He has mentored more than 15 startups and working at grassroots level towards making Odisha and Eastern India a startup hub. He has been working with Head Start Network Foundation, Bengaluru, as a volunteer to nurture and promote entrepreneurship. So that's a very small view, a very brief view about B.P. Patnaik, sir. So now I would like to say, Madam, if you are there, if sir can start the session.
Yes, ma'am, we can start. Sir, please. So the session is yours.
Yeah. Thank you so much, the professors from Narula Institute of Technology and the other, institutes who are working as under the IIC of Narula Institute of Technology. We had a good session from the other respected speaker on this, but I will be taking you a tour on what are the facts that we see when you come on with an innovation and how to convert that to a business. What sort of a very initial primitive, base preparation you have to do before you confirm that, yes, I'm going to start something, business or working on an innovative idea and sort of that. Give me a second to share the screen and then we'll start. Yeah. The goal in a business is to improve the success rate. And what is the success rate is, in business, we do not target to achieve something through a formula, but we rather target to reduce the mistakes that we commit every step and day and verticals of the business. So a success in business is nothing but nothing a bigger target to achieve on a plan, rather to reduce the failures in the journey. So what are the different failures? What could be the points of slowdown? What could be the points of a wrong decision been taken, premature decisions been taken, could be minimized to get along with success rate increased and achieving your goals. Half of which is around develop a product. Normally what we do is, this is very important for an academic case of discussion. When I mean, there has been a lot of encouragement to do startups, professors to drive the research into converting startups, business, IPs and commercializing IPs, technology transfer and all that. Whereas we have to also look at the other very crucial part of it, that the faculty and the academic research and the business development process, how far been drawn parallels to understand that how to convert the faculty research, the academic research, be rapid, be objective oriented, be very focused in terms of converting into a business, converting into a technology transfer, converting into a commercial IP. Nobody is mandated to think like that. But when you're thinking that yes, I'm making something fruitful which can be converted as a business, then the parameters completely change. The second point says that develop product in half the time and at half the cost. Okay, more important is half the time. Before you come to the market, before you call it as a worthy product, your service, before you call it as a kind of a problem, a solution for solving something, a huge problem existing in the world, you have to occur to the time of development, to the time of conversion, to the time of launching it in the market, and so. So, just a second. So that has to be marked. Like in academics, we do researches. We do it in multiple ways. We do it through our Center of Excellences. We do it through our research team of faculty and other guides. We do it through our undergrad, postgrad, and doctorate students, all that. But do be in mind that the problem statement that we are working, how fresh is that? What is its marketability? What is its survival rate? How fast it has to come to the market, or how fast it has to come to deployment, so that what you're developing is not just a conceptual development, but it's also getting deployed in the market. And it's not, it doesn't perish before you develop something and you just publish papers and something, other journals and all that stuff, and win some projects and challenges and all that. But you lost the complete timing that your development could have converted into an implementation. So that is a very crucial and key stuff that we academicians should see when we are ourselves doing research on a product development or service development, or we encourage our students to do certain development through projects and all that. So we do not normally bring in this complete umbrella of thought process of converting the problem and statement into the deployable version of it. Rather, we just stick to the development with an infinite development time. That's not very valid if we are talking to talking of innovation. Innovation will be there, but it won't be having the other side of the complete value. So the innovation with no value is something very lost, and the time and the resource and the everything that has been put through various convergences would be a big loss. So this can be considered as a reducing failure also, and also in terms of reducing the time, understanding the particular timing of the development that you're doing to bring it to the market, to bring it to deployment, to bring it test, validate, and all that, other than development. We normally come to the stage of development and then forget. We publish papers, we get IPs, but then we forget. But what happens in MIT is what happens in Harvard is like the development has been very much dragged with respect to the time that it has equivalent value in the market. So the institutes are coming up with a lot of technology transfer offices. The faculty developments are immediately brought to the market through the technology transfer offices, which in India, we hardly have any technology transfer offices in IITs also. Or if we have also, they do work very less actively to maintain this timing of development and getting it to the deployment. So that's an important part of solution development before we go to the structured way of growing, developing a solution for a particular problem. This should be there in our mind. Then the structured way of development we will discuss. What is the lean innovation framework? The lean innovation framework is which facilitates you minimizing the various flaws before you come to the market, before you get along with your complete product developed. What sort of a framework, what sort of a cycle, what sort of a iterative way of development process has to be followed? It's called a lean innovation framework, where we validate a lot of things, starting from the problem validation. Do I work? Am I working on a very sizable, valuable, convertible, sustainable problem that defines a lot of other parameters on the other side as a business? So if I'm working on a problem which doesn't exist, if I'm working on a problem no one is ready to pay for, what sort of solution, what I will be developing after validating the problem, then the complete development resource, human brainstorm, everything goes vain if you are developing, if you are developing a solution on a problem which is not scalable, which is not sustainable, which is not feasible, which is not viable. So we have to measure the problem in terms of all these parameters before we settle ourselves in a thought process to develop this solution for this. We'll discuss about even BML loop, which would be letting us understand how to iteratively validate the development of the solution for a particular problem. What is a problem-solution fit? A problem-solution fit is something. A fit is like a matchmaking. As an innovator, I must know. In academic research, we used to search problems. We search problems through various literature surveys. We search problems from various existing solutions that has been searched by many people in a particular problem vertical. So there we read a lot. We try to find out gaps in the existing solutions for a particular problem area, or we think a new problem to be coming in when you are detailing on a particular sector that you want to work. So when I come down with the problem, okay, this is the problem, but how it is validated is that I read a lot of solutions existing in the market. I read a lot of solutions existing or developed by other researchers or developers. Then I try finding gaps in the existing solution and understand who is the target who is going to utilize the solution as a quench to the problem, as a mitigation to the problem. Usse pehle, is the problem very sensitive? Is the problem very unavoidable by people? They have to get a solution. They are badly in need of a solution. Then what sort of solutions are there existing in the current world for that particular problem? And how far the solutions are serving the problem to the end users, to the what do you call the fellow who is into the problem, So if the existing solutions do not serve completely to the problem, you have got a chance. If the existing solution is not at all solving a problem, then you see that what is the innovation in the existing solution and what is the marketability, viability of that solution, why they have been flopped or somebody is doing good. Then what is the gap between the two solutions that are existing for the problem that I'm solving? So those are the areas which let you know a gap that is existing in the current solutions of the particular problem that you're thinking of. But how to measure a problem? A problem is something which people, in a business development way of thinking, a problem is something for which the target is somebody who is having the pain of having this problem with them, who is ready to pay something, pay anything, pay very viable to get the best of the solution for the problem. अगर मेरे पास एक problem है, if I'm getting pain because of a particular problem, and I want to come out of that pain by paying anything which can completely solve that problem, which can partly solve that problem, which can be majorly solving the problem, but there are differences, a solution which is partly solving the problem, a solution which is majorly solving the problem, but not completely solving the problem, and a solution which is completely solving the problem. But then looking at a problem, you get to know there are various levels of pain points, So you got to understand what is the critical pain point of a problem. What covers the major solution of a problem? What should be the pain point? If I solve that, it's a major solution for the problem. And it covers the major target of the users if I solve a particular pain point of the problem. So how would I understand this? I can understand this by seeing at the other product service development. It already happened. It's relevant studies. But what could be the real way of understanding that what can be offered to the users as a solution of the very daunting problem that a target market is facing? What could be the solution? So let's say you sat down, you brainstormed, and you found some 4 to 5 critical points to be a part of a particular problem to be solved. So all those 5 points, I have to evaluate, are people going to pay for all these 5 points? Which are the points that people are interested paying for? How much they're interested paying for the solution, that particular pain point, if I'm selling at X price? Would that be enough to address the problem? The critical point that I'm solving can bring in a sustainable solution for that particular problem vertical. These understandings we need to jot before we think of a solution. I'm just validating a problem. Validation kaise hota hai is looking at the problem, the size of the problem, the sustainability of the problem, the feasibility of developing solutions of the problem. Make problem finalize karunga ki I'll work on this problem, but there is no feasible solution existing in the world. I cannot pick that as a problem. Then whatever feasible solution I'm making, can that solution be viable? Viable as in, can that be made at a particular cost, which the target market can afford? If it is not, if I'm developing something very bulk and costlier and unaffordable, then also it's not a solution fit. For this size of problem, if I develop a solution which becomes very costly, then also there is not a problem solution fit. Because the problem is a particular target, and I must know what solution I'm developing, the target can afford it, because you're going to sell the product to the target who is under that pay. If I'm not able to develop a sizable product in terms of physical size, in terms of time of utilization, in terms of the cost that I'm going to offer to them, all these if are not feasible, also the problem solution is not perfect. So where would I get this in before I design my solution for a particular problem? Who can give me the information for all these things? The target market, the target segment. The target segment who is with the pain point can only help us with these inputs, and we can work on keeping eye on these inputs. We can we understood the problem, validated that it's a huge segment which is going to utilize this. This is a daunting problem that the people cannot. It becomes very difficult for them unless the problem got a solution. They're going to pay, but they're going to how much they're going to pay and how long they can pay it and all that. Once I confirm with this, then I go to what sort of solution can be feasible. It is technical feasible. Is it scalable? Can it be developed within a cost? I must understand these parameters, these opinions from the segment who is going to buy the product, who is going to utilize the product. Then I would come back and think of the feasible technologies. Let's say technology 1, technology 2, technology 3 can develop a solution. Then depending on what technology and its cost of development can be afforded by the target, then I would decide what technology I would come with so that the cost of development goes down. Okay, what technology I should come up? What technology I should come up so that the scale of production can be faster? What technology I should be coming up which can be very user friendly? So when you're picking a technology for the development of the solution also, we are keeping the target market, target segment into eye. If it is for a very below poverty line, uneducated segment of mass, then if I'm using something very premier technology, I have to think that is that below poverty, uneducated mass would be very right segment to utilize this sort of a very pure technology process. Then I should switch some technology which they can be using. So the product solution fit brings in this sort of thought process when I'm validating a problem and jumping into developing a solution. Will the target customer pay? Can the problem be solved? The problem can be solved in various ways, but what can be scaled up? What can be brought into a particular cost that is to be evaluated? So not just validation of technology, but validation of scalable production, validation of acceptability of the target market, target segment, validation of what they're going to afford, what scale they can pay for, and all that are very important in developing problem solution. So what sort of exercises can be done to come along with this sort of a process to jot down what components I should pick to design a solution for a particular valid problem that I have designed for an idea or an idea. So the problem, what do I fix, how to reach to a solution, got many steps. One is document your plan. Number 2 is get ready to interview customers, because that's very important. पहले मैं घर पे बैठ के कुछ jot करता हूँ primary level, not me, it's a design again, who should discuss it. So document the plan brings in all those components of discussion, brainstorming, bringing in the first set of information that you can bring in as a solution, but not as a tangible, but as a hypothetical. So that hypothetical solution that you have jotted, designed, layout, costing, estimation you have done, that you have to bring into the market for validation from the segment who is going to buy, who is going to utilize this sort of a solution. So interviewing the customers with whatever homework your team and your experts have done, that is to be brought into the market, brought into the segment, and validated from there. After validation, when you get the ticks for all these validations, a majority of these homeworks ticked out by the interviewer, then you can jot down the next level of crisp version of the solution to go ahead. So what could be the steps? Step 1 could be document your plan A. Plan A is that is the first set of thought process that is brought in through brainstorming inside your team and expertise. And you're trying to validate that plan, taking it to the segment, understanding the feedback of the segment. Then you can say, oh yeah, plan A is okay. Or you got to get some iterations done and get to a plan B. So what to be done there? So brainstorming possible customers, understanding the segment, taking feedbacks, sketch multiple lean canvases, developing an idea to business. You need a lot of stakeholders to come together to help you to develop the business. So who could be my stakeholders? Who should be my developer? Who should be my manufacturer? Who should be my channel partner? Or what cost is required? What revenue will be generated? Who would be the target? All that thing has to be worked out in the mind as a lean canvas exercise. Then prioritize where to start. Where to start is you got to go to the consumers, you got to go to the interview the segment and understand what you're thinking is in the line of requirement of the segment who is in the pain. So then when you go and interview the customer, what you have to do is assemble a problem solution team who understands the complete process of the problem and solution. Get a head start on channels, like you got to go to various, utilize various channels and way of doing to understand the feedback from the customer segment. Formulate a testable hypothesis. Like when you do a plan A, you got feedback from the segment, and then you're iterating something on the product. You must have whatever componental addition you are doing on the product, whatever iterations you're coming on the product, you have to validate as plan A, as plan B, and so that validation happens through various tests of hypothesis, tests of the smaller development. Here we have only hypothetical analysis before we go to a tangible product development, tangible service development. So the hypothetical analysis also has to be tested and validated iteration on iteration. Conduct problem interviews, understand the severity of the problem, understand the kind of design that you are giving against the problem from the segment. एक प्रॉब्लम मैं सॉल्व कर रहा हूं एंड मैं जाके पूछ रहा हूं, इंटरव्यू कर रहा हूं, let's say I'm working on a problem P1 and my team goes and dispersed into the segment and asking, do you think this is a problem for you? And people would be saying, no, we never come across this problem. Had you been not going for that interview and asking people and doing that interview in the segment, you would have developed something, a product or a service, and then you would have gone to market. Then you would have got a big blow in the market that you are developing something, you're solving a problem, something which people don't face. People have nowhere a problem, but you have imagined yourself that, oh, this is a problem. No. So I must know the problem, what I'm solving, who is in pain. Is it really a problem for them? Are they desperate about the problem to be solved? What sort of effort they are giving now to solve the problem? What do they do to come against it? Now, what should I develop? All that has to be well understood before you design, before you invest into a tangible product or solution development. Build a demo, formulate a testable hypothesis, make a prototype, make a POC, proof of concept, test it again with hypothesis, conduct a solution interview. Do you have a problem worth solving? You will get an answer that yes, the problem that you're solving, the solution that you're developing is both validated by the segment who is tomorrow going to pay for it and get the solution for them. Then only you should start developing a solution. What we normally do is we think of a problem, we never validate it. We go for developing. What happened in an academic? Like my guide said I solved a problem. Somebody else says I solved a problem. An expert came to one of the webinar. He told that this is the problem you solved, so I started solving a problem. No, it doesn't happen like that. We have to follow the right strategy to validate the problem. And the problem validation happens the best only when you interview, only when you feedback from the segment who owns this problem, who is living with this problem, who is living with the pain of this problem, has to speak for you, has to validate that, yes, I need a solution for this, otherwise I'll die. Otherwise, this is impossible. And I'm going to pay anything or something or whatever you ask, something kind of that. That validation brings you to sit down and think of a tangible product at a particular cost, and then think of how to make it to reach to the target segment. What are the key principles? the first key principle of developing a solution, validating a problem is get out of the building. Get out of the building, get out of the COE, get out of the, the various, the journals, e-journals, these, that, studying 30 journals I downloaded, studied them, found out a problem, but I never validated, is it a real problem existing in the world? I didn't. So get out of the building. It's high time that we are sitting inside the COEs, sitting inside the conferences, confirming that this is the problem existing. No, you have to go to the segment. You have to verify with the people who is in pain with this sort of a problem and validate. Once you confirm with that, then you can go and work on your in canvas, which would help you understand an environment of connects that develops the complete business, not just a product solution. A product solution is not, a problem solution is not just confined to developing a product from a problem, for a problem. Rather, we are just thinking of products, problem solution, we are thinking in terms of developing business. So it's not just a problem valid, a technology valid, a process valid, and a solution developed. It's not a product solution, problem solution fit. A problem solution fit brings in a lot of other business parameters into this. If they all come together, converge as a successful component, as a successful synthesis, and bring in the most viable product for the consumers which they are ready to pay for, then only we can say it's a problem solution fit idea. Then we are converting the solution. All right. So the lean, once you get out of the building, bring in those data from the segment, then only you can start building a real product for which the consumers are going to pay for. So you're going to guess these parameters on a lean canvas. Are we thinking when we are developing, when we are validating a problem, when we are thinking of a solution, when we are thinking of a business out of the problem and solution, are we guessing all these parameters? Are we guessing all these 9 segments of the lean canvas? If we do, then we will definitely come up with a very viable, business worthy, sort of a solution and sort of all the stakeholders and connects to develop the business. What are these different segments, different components of a lean canvas that somebody has to stress upon when you validate a problem, or even not a problem, when you think of validating a problem, when you think of developing a solution after validating a problem? Is problem number 1, that you are validating a problem. You cannot solve any problem existing anywhere without knowing where it is existing. Who is going to pay for it? What is the rate they can pay for? All that. You have to understand a lot of things for the problem to validate it. Once the problem is validated, then we work on, I would say, I would take you to one more slide where I would show you. Yeah. So this slide says, see, the number 1, what we guess is a problem, what we discussed till now. The number 1 is what we guess, or not guessed even. We worked on a brainstorming and then validated from, then validation चाहिए मेरे को कि ये problem existing है, ये problem solid है, ये problem के लिए लोग तड़प रहे हैं solution के लिए. There are some existing alternatives which are not too good. The problem is so big, the alternatives are so small. आप देख रहे हो 2 rounds दिया है. The bigger red round is the problem that is existing, and the smaller red round is the existing solution which is solving a part of it. So how would I assume this? I cannot assume this. I cannot develop a problem, start a business hypothetically. So what I have to do is I have to go to the last segment, which is customer segment, to validate it. So after a problem, I go to the customer. After thinking of problem in my mind, I have to go to the customer segment. The customer segment will validate me that yes, this is the problem. And the problem is so big, but the current market, current service providers are giving us such a small part of it as a solution, which we are not ready to pay for, which doesn't solve the problem in a gross. So we are yet in the process, yet in the pain. So we need definitely a solution. So once you confirm from the customer segment, then you're thinking of the rest of the part. What are the rest of the part? We'll again go back to the lean canvas. So I need to guess the rest of the 7 components. The 7 components are, after I confirm it from the customer segment, I must go to develop a solution. What are the key matrices of the solution? Solution kaisa hona chahiye? What should define the solution? That's very, very important. What is a solution is that we offer certain value to the people who are facing the problem. So the value that we are offering them as a solution to the major problem, they pay for it. If we don't offer any value as a solution for the problem, people are not going to pay for it. So every problem has a bigger chunk of pain. Every problem has a bigger chunk of pain for which you have to develop a value. And the value that you're offering, it clear-cut gives a solution to that bigger chunk of problem or the whole problem or something like that. So it's a single, clear, compelling message, single, clear, compelling value handed over to the consumer, to the segment, for which they're ready to pay for which they are coming you to again and again, because you're giving a value as the bigger chunk of problem that you're solving. So you have to decide what is that value. That value is the USP. What do you offer? We see about 3 companies working one product, but we say, yeah, Whirlpool is too good in developing washing machines. Videocon is less, and then Onida is then. So what is that? There is some USP which is solving the washing clothes problem in a bigger role, in a bigger, effectiveness than the other 2 competitors. So every brand comes with a very important, clear, compelling, single-pointed problem-solving offer, problem-solving value, problem-solving proposition to the consumer. People are going to buy for it. When I see that some brand is being sold so huge, its USP is too good. The USP may be a very good sustainable technology. The USP may be the last USP would be, the cheaper product. We always start speaking, my product is very affordable. Affordable has a range. Affordable is not 1 rupee or 2 rupee. Affordable can be a segment's affordability can go from X to 10X. So when they're ready to pay from X to 10X, I have a chance of developing a problem, a solution, which can range between X to 10X. If I offer the best of the solution, people are ready to buy it for 10X. Then why should I solve a problem which I'm very bothered, which I'm very excited about solving in X, and develop something undersolved product and selling it at X? Even at X, people will not buy that unless you solve the problem. So the USP plays a very important role while you design a solution addressing the bigger chunk of the problem, bigger chunk of the pain there is there in the problem. What are the unfair advantages? While we decide this unique value proposition, today I'm proposing a product into the market with a unique value proposition. Tomorrow somebody else is copying it and selling it. Let's say me as a startup, I'm developing something, product X, with a USP 1. And tomorrow there is a bigger player, let's say Ambani, is making something what I made today. Over midnight, he has all those assets and the process and everything. He copied me and produced products tomorrow. Where would I go? I may be the first one to come up with this USP, but it could be copied very fast. So the bigger players who existed before you, they came in stronger into the market. They get the product in a low cost. They produced in a bigger bulk, and they had a market built, market developed already. So they spread it into the market very fast, and you vanished. So while developing the USP, design of the USP, you got to look at some unfair advantages. Unfair advantages in you have to bring in some sort of a black box design into the unique value proposition, which others would take some time to come along or cannot come along with that sort of a solution. So that creates a market gap. Until you create the market, acquire the market, your competitors would not be able to guess what sort of a black box you have brought in the best of the value propositions you have proposed. So the unfair advantage brings in something that cannot be easily copied or brought into the market by any of the competitors who is there in your segment. So you have to guess to bring in something, an unfair advantage into the market, which people would keep looking on you, but cannot develop the product. Or when they develop the product, you would have already acquired the market to a major chunk. That's very important to think of. If you miss this part of the product, you'll be anytime possibly vanishing from the market by other competitors. Channels, how do I send this product to the end user? What is the way of offering or sending or delivering the product value, delivering the value to the consumer, to the segment? Channels. You see, earlier we used to go to the physical spaces, buying things, bringing it by trolley to home and all that. But now it has become very easy. Do we go to channels like a showroom? Do we go to channels like a mall? We sit on the table, access through all the online services and order things, and that come to us. If we test it, if it doesn't fit, we return it. We do everything. We have all the liberty to select a product sitting just at your desktop. So desktop marketing is a channel, malls is a channel, a shop is a channel, or door-to-door selling is a channel. What channel you are selecting to deliver the value, that product that you have developed? What channel suits you very well, suits to your design of developing solution? Who is your segment? Where the segment lies? What are its demography? अगर मेरा segment पहाड़ी के बीच में है, then मैं उनको online भेजूंगा या उनको बोलूंगा कि दुकान से आके लो. What should be my channel? If my segment is demography is very much walking, sitting in the office for 12 hours, what sort of channel I should be germinating my product selling in? So it's very understandable from the customer segment that what sort of a channel, and also on the other way, what product you're developing, can that be dispatched through the channels that you're picking? So that viability and feasibility of the channel for dispatch and collect and return and all that process has to be also checked in. So these are all stakeholding things you have to build before you jump into developing a tangible solution. That's a lean canvas. And this can come multiple times when you interview with the segment, when you interview with all these stakeholders slowly. You need corrections multiple times, again and again. And you have to reiterate this sort of a lean canvas multiple times to come up with the best of the product before you scale up, before you do a bulk manufacturing sort of a thing. When I get all the idea, guessed about all these verticals and segments and components, then I understand. I get a tangible information about what could be the cost of my development. What could be the cost of my development? That has to be feasible. That has to be viable. Cost अगर बहुत ज़्यादा आता है, then product cost भी ज़्यादा आ जाता है. Then will the segment afford it? So once I get this componential contribution to the development of the solution, I understand also what sort of a cost coming in for development of a particular scale of the product. From the designing of the problem till the handing over the product value to the consumer segment through the proper channel. So the cost has to be properly evaluated, and the cost has to be properly evaluated for a duration of time, a sustainable duration of time through which you can get the this break even of the business. So a particular time the cost has to be viable, feasible, so you get your break even, then do a multiple layer of scale up and all that. What could be the revenue streams? If I'm developing a product, is it just the selling of the product gives me revenue? Is it a repair and maintenance giving me revenue? Is it something else, or a kind of a insurance for the product gives me a revenue? What kind of other revenue sources other than the core product can be a revenue stream for me? That also I have to understand, so I can design this lean canvas in a complete way to manage my business in all 360 possible ways of all these verticals that I'm thinking of. Why lean innovation is something, lean innovation हम क्यों करते हैं? क्योंकि the things are changing very fast. The technology changes very fast. The requirement changes very fast. the expectation changes very fast, affordability changes fast. So when I'm lean, I can design, redesign. I can keep these verticals open for edit, open for innovation, open for reiteration with less cost. But had I been developing something very crisp from the very zero, and I have to reinvest to develop something crisp one, then it's a loss. So lean is something, every vertical is too open to be reiterative, to be rethought, to be reassessed, to be rebuilt. So that's a lean innovation process. And it grows slowly on a very steady, sustainable way of growth through our lean canvas development. That's why we got to work on this lean innovation process, innovation development process, before we come down to a product, before we come down to a business model, a business plan, and running a business from day one. So how does it go as a business journey from zero? Is that our customer there on this side and time on this side, as I told from the very first two components, that the time has to be an important component for your product development. The first thing what we are doing is problem solution fit. So we went to the segment, we understood from the segment, we prepared something proof of concept, we validated the hypothesis, we validated the experimental development that we had. Then we led it to 40, 30, 10 customers, which are called the early adopters. The early adopters are the philanthropic people from the segment. Just say we tested COVID vaccine. Initially we test, they are the guinea pigs who come along as a volunteer and say that, yes, I'm ready to test, get the vaccine tested on me. So this is the 40 early adopters. जो come as a volunteer, come as a sector fellow, come as a pain point, who pain point realizer, who is under the pain. उसमें से कुछ लोग volunteer होके आते, उनको early adopter बोला जाता है, वो आपके product पे use करके आपको feedback देते हैं. Then जब वो early adopter are normally a design again, आपका segment अगर 4000 लोग है उसमें, तो आप pick करो वो 4 से 40 लोग जो कि ये problem, ये पेन पॉइंट को अच्छे से समझते हैं, उसका सॉल्यूशन क्या होना चाहिए, उनके दिमाग में कुछ चल रहा है. Then they could be the best of the 40 customers initial as early adopter who would give you the very concrete feedback to build the product market fit. अभी product solution बन गया उनके चलते. Now product market is those 40 people say, if the product had been like this, we would have brought it for this much of cost. Then taking the validation from these 40 people, we started converting a little more addition than that and saying that, yes, this product we can sell in the market. So we made the product market fit and took it to 400 customers. In a kind of 12 months. These timelines are very big, the resource I have collected from. Now we are solving problems and taking people to the market in 9 months. A problem like a flying taxi, a problem like a 200 kg drone, we have brought on surface within 9 months, and they have got a 25 crore investment within 9 months. They started in March, and in December, we have got around 5 crores of investment. And now in March, April, we are targeting around 27 crores of investment in the product. So the timeline is going to be very squeezed now than earlier. जो 36 month था, वो अभी 18 महीना almost product timeline चल रहा है. Had it been something very pharmaceutical, something very biotechnological, something very deep tech sort of thing, which takes a little bit of development time, but still the development time could be very, very 24 months, not more than that, because knowing this sort of changing world, as we discussed in last class about VUCA, last session as VUCA, that in 2 years time, if you take a problem to solve, then I don't know if 2 years after the problem would be existing or not. So again, as we discussed, we never know the time of the problem, how much it is going to exist. So we have to map that if the problem, what time the problem could be existing for, and what time I should take the solution to make after out of the problem and its research. So then I would take, 400 customers are validated, then I take it to the market, then I scale it up, then I take it wherever my segment lies, I open up how to scale it up there. These stages are called as ideation, where you do up to solution, validation, where you take it to the market, early adopters adopt it, then you little bit scaled up as a product market fit, then again you validate it, as an MVP, which is minimum viable product, which people around 10 times of people thought to buy it, then now 40 is X. When you come up with the feedback of the 40 people, you made something which 400 people adopted. Then you thought, okay, 10x adoption ho gaya. So now you are ready. There is a thumb. 10x adoption agar hota hai, now you can scale up. Now you can scale up in terms, you make assets, you adopt partners who would manufacture for you or design for you or do market relevant services for you. And then you scale up and execute scale-ups after that. This is the same thing in terms of numerics. This we discussed. The persona development and segmentation. This is the core of understanding the solution development. Ki, who is my segment? Kaun hai wo? If I'm doing some hypothetical analysis, then who is my segment? Who is my consumer? मेरे दिमाग में एक persona develop हो रहा है, जो कि ये pain के नीचे है. Who is realizing this pain in a very acute state is my problem. So that persona clarity has to be there when I'm designing my product. So that's called as the persona development and segmentation. So what are the facts? Factual information about your target customer. Facts kahan se aayega? Only when you reach to the customer. Only when you reach to the segment. Then only we can get the facts about the segment. Then pain. State the problem you believe your target. Pain. State the problem you believe that your target customers have, that your solution solve. Must be seeing in in one of the this Shark Tank, a fellow comes in and talks about something, and then who is the Sadi.com's owner? He says that, pardon?
Anupam Mittal.
Anupam Mittal says, "Yeah, you have brought a problem, jo ki solutions. You have brought a solution, jo ki problem search kar raha hai. How would we pay for it?" So, if you remember this, what does that mean? I have developed something at my home without understanding what my target segment likes to have. And that fellow comes in pitching for investment. Then the investor says that, "Yeah, you have solved something which is searching for a problem now." वो एक कुछ बनाया था, आपको अगर याद है, वो एक बनाया था प्रॉब्लम, वो एक सोल्यूशन बनाया था जो कि ग्लास के ऊपर लगता है एंड वो पीने के टाइम आप उसको पैंडेमिक के लिए वो यूज कर रहा है. दैट्स काइंड ऑफ अ लीप का एक टेम्पलेट बना हुआ, एंड लोग पीने के टाइम उसको ग्लास में चिपकाएंगे, देन वो पिएंगे. Who wants this? And what is this? Is this a problem for somebody in the what is the segment? Which fellow is under this problem? Who wants such a device or such a lip template to fix on the glass and then drink? How many of you do agree that you will be having something like that? So this is a solution which is developed inside home and now searching a problem. Where is my segment? Because I don't know which segment under this problem. So that sort of a problem are very furious. It wastes a lot of our time, and because this is misinformed, because we haven't validated, the pain is not ticked out. Behavior kya hai? What is the existing behavior of the segment under this pain? Under this pain, and pain is in abhi wo pura problem ko jhel rahe hai, or there are certain existing solutions existing. वो solution की तरफ उनका behavior क्या है? So then you understand the gap that is lying from the existing solution, how they are handling this problem now. Are they handling themselves, or X has solved, or X has developed a product or a service to solve this problem? What is the feature of that service? Why it is not solving the whole problem? I have to understand from the behavior of the consumer in the segment. Then you decide your goals. Agar unko with the behavior, you will guess that what solution will do better. Like they are solving the problem by themselves in some way. Somebody else has developed a product. What is the behavior towards them? If you understand that, then you would understand what solution would do better. So these things are very important to develop the persona. You talk to the bigger tycoons in business who they know most is their consumer, who they are talking most, who they are researching most, who they are interested to see most is their consumer. So that persona is the biggest persona that they're dealing round the clock, round the year, to be in the business, to be the leader in the segment and all that. So without that, anybody who is doing it is a threat to themselves and threat if they're bringing in sort of solution. People are also being cheated. Solutions are not to the mark. So बहुत सारा problems हो रहा है. So what and why the early adopters? We understood why the early adopters. There are different level of people who help us in this process of complete, the lean canvas, starting from idea to product, business. Set of people are, number one is the innovator who thinks of a problem and solving a solution for that. Then the early adopters who come in, maybe the fellow who pay them for the proof of concept, pay them for the prototypes, pay them as angel to develop something which is good for. Why they are called angel? Because they want on a very visionary, they are philanthropists who want this sort of a solution to come up, and they pay for it, the solution to develop, without looking at what sort of a return to happen to them. Then comes the early majority are the pragmatists as in the businessmen, the venture capitalists, जो कि early adopters से पैसा लेके आप जब product बनाओगे, आप जब 40 से 400, 400 से 4000 बने, early majority or the pragmatists are absorbing you, angels invest करने के बाद, वो valid हो जाता है कि yes, this can grow in the market, this can be scaled up, this can be expanded, this is the rate of market that is existing, this is the segment in the world, this is the size of market that is existing in the world, and the business plan model that he is following is too good, then let me invest. So the early majority are the pragmatists, are the VCs who are coming. Late majority are again the Series A, Series B, Series C kind of people, IPO kind of people, the public shares kind of things happen to them, which expands the business. So these come into our business on different validations at different percentage of contribution to grow our business. But we have to confirm that the proper growth happens at every level to show these people to grow our business. So what is our lean, systematic plan of, business development, ideation, and all that? Is that you have an idea, you build some POC, and then you build a product, then measure it. Measure as in hypothetical test karao, validation karao, certification karao, segment se validation लो. Then you get data. Data again makes you analyze how effective your product, what sort of competitive edge it has. All those parameters again brings up some learning, and then again you re-ideate, build. This sort of a process is called the lean, BML kind of build, measure, learn. What I told BML, kind of a framework which helps you, developing, rebuilding, making your lean canvas more rugged, viable, and feasible. Yeah, this we have discussed. This is what I was talking about, and the center says that this got to happen in weeks. This cannot happen in years' time. Okay, so you get an idea, build it, experiment it. Build, matlab, do some experimentation, proof of concept designing and all that. Then product comes, POC to product comes with, kind of validations, certifications, test validations, segment validations. Then it becomes a product. Then product goes to the market. That's called go to market. Go to market will give you inputs for the scale up and all. That what is the response? What sort of a geography, demography needs? What sort of a strategy to push my product into the market? Then that data helps me learn, rebuild. But this has to happen in weeks, in months' time, not in years' time. Before you come with a design, come with a product, the market has already vanished. So it has to be very fast learning with the problem been, oozing up and vanishing. Within that, you have to solve the problem and maximize the return by helping people through solving the problem. this we have gone through. More details in terms of how to interview on a problem, sort of that. I think this new come along with multiple, once you do a problem interview, once you do a product interview, once you do a segmental interview, you come back, then you cross some lean canvases, come up with some lean canvases, and multiple iterations, then you come up with the final lean canvas that you got to work on with. So this process, product development करने को सोचने से पहले ये process होता है. तो प्रोडक्ट डेवलपमेंट अगर मुझे 1 साल के अंदर करना है तो ये प्रोसेस मेरे को 1 महीना 1.5 महीने के अंदर करना है. So that it says कि it has to happen in weeks, not in years and months. So in 1.5 or 2 months you have to come down with a final crisp blueprint of the canvas that you're going to adapt for your product and market development and stakeholder development, onboarding, collaboration around that. Don't be afraid to be embarrassed. Embarrassed when customers see your product for the first time, you will be embarrassed anyway. So if you see that, oh, I have developed a product, I'll package like this. I have developed a on-the solution solving product, but I'll package it like this. No, the solution will only be beautiful when it has been approved by the segment. So don't feel embarrassed taking it to this segment. Don't feel like overconfident to validating it from the segment. You have to, whatever you have built, the best of the अगर आप भिखारी के लिए तलवे बना रहे हो तो भिखारी ही उसको वैलिडेट करेगा. अंबानी cannot validate it. So you have to go to the beggar and say that, would this be the right ball for you to toss the coin inside, make a noise out of it, and ask people that give me a rupee or so. So your segment is your segment. It may be a bhikari, it may be somebody. You have to go to the segment. He is the fellow who is going to pay for you, for your product. So need not, agar aap unke liye product banate ho, so the beggar may embarrass you, but tomorrow he'll pay for you. When you, the feedback of embarrassment would definitely build a better product tomorrow for which he will buy and pay for it. So you have to meet the segment instead of all embarrassment. Leaning is hard and sometimes frustrating because people you show anything, they will say that some sort of a flaw in that. But you have to validate that flaw. You won't have to go very literally with the flaw that they are giving as a feedback, but you have to validate the inputs that has been brought from the segment, understand with various theory of validations, and but the theory of validations needs raw inputs. Otherwise, the theory of validations will give you some tangential data, tangential outcome. So you have to have the right inputs for the theory of validations. So bring in parameters, bring in information, bring in input, validate it through various hypothetical thesis validation process, and then see what you should be doing. You should be starting somewhere. People gave you a different kind of point of view, and most of the sector giving you a different point of view. Then you should pivot. Pivot as in you should be building something else. But there should be an option of pivotizing. All right. If I'm building something very narrow, crisp product, I have to completely vest it. But if I'm developing something a very open, as I said, lean is that is why lean is important. Lean is important because I'm open in every vertical. So there is a chance of pivoting in between. So if something goes very wrong, I will pivot into developing something else which will go into the market. So that's the advantage of pivoting and other scopes of sustaining in the product, sustaining in the market, sustaining in the business happens through lean, though it is hard and often frustrating, but it let you live in the market, sustain you in the market, would not let you vanish out of it. So lean is very much important for you. This is very important statement. Your solution is not the product. So what I assume from the hypothesis, from the previous research, from the all that, what we land into something called as a solution is not my product. So we need all these rest of the white components to justify, to validate that if my solution is a product. For that, you have to move to the other 9 segments, other 8 segments, that if your solution is a product. Then text to business model and all. Thank you so much. I think product market fit is little touched, but product solution fit is grossly touched. That's it from my side. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir, for your explicit explanation on the topic which is relevant today. Now the forum is open for any question answers. Participants are requested to put forward their questions to. If any one of you have any questions. The house is open for question answers. If any one of you have any questions, you are requested to put forward to sir. So, sir, if there are no questions, then I would like to request Dr. Anilesh De, Department of EC, Head HOD of the Department of EC, Narula Institute of Technology, to please give a vote of thanks for today's program. Anilesh, sir.
Ma'am, actually, Anilesh sir is not available, so I'll just take a few minutes. I will propose a vote of thanks.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Thank you very much, ma'am, for giving me this opportunity. At first, I would like to thank the eminent speakers of today's session, Mr. Tapas Piplai sir and Mr. B.P. Patnaik, for giving such an excellent deliberation and giving us information about this session. So I would also like to thank all the mentee institutes, all the participants from the mentee institutes, and also the president and the conveners of all the mentee institutes for participating in this session. And I would like to also thank the management of the JS Group for giving us this opportunity to conduct the event. I would first I would like to thank the principal of Narula Institute of Technology, Professor Maitreya Kanjilal, for giving us this opportunity to take up the session and also encouraging us to take up the innovation and the entrepreneurial activities in our college. I would also like to thank Mrs. Nidhi Singh, Madam, our registrar, for always encouraging us and supporting us for these activities. And I would also like to thank all the IIC committee members for taking the pain to conduct these events. And last but not the least, I would like to thank AICT and MIC for allowing us to be the mentor of the 5 institutes and also giving us this opportunity to collaborate with these institutes and conduct the activities so that we can set up a startup and innovation ecosystem in our region. Thank you one and all. So I would inform that I would be sharing the attendance and the feedback link. I request all the participants to please look into the chat box and just giving the link. So just a minute. So I hope everyone can access the feedback link as well as the attendance link. I request everyone to kindly give the attendance.
All participants are requested to fill up the attendance sheet and the feedback link, which has been shared in the chat box. Sandhya, should we wait for a few more minutes?
Yes, let us wait for a few minutes so that everybody can give the attendance.
Okay.
And the feedback also. I'm pausing the recording. I'm stopping the recording.
Okay.
Recording stopped.
হ্যাঁ তুই আছিস কেন ভগবান হ্যাঁ এই হয়ে গেছে বলছে পাই দিতে লিঙ্ক দিতে দিয়ে দি ইউটিউবে অ্যাটেন্ডেন্সের জন্য যাচ্ছে হ্যাঁ বলো আচ্ছা ঠিক আছে হ্যাঁ 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 কি বলছে ইউটিউব লাইভ অফ করে দিতে ইউটিউবে অ্যাটেন্ডেন্স দিতে হবে না অ্যাটেন্ডেন্স লিংকটা দিলাম তো কি গেল বুঝতে পারছি না ইউটিউবে
আপনি ভালো করে কর আগে বকা খেতে পারবেন বুঝি এটা কেয়ারফুলি কর ম্যাডাম দেখেছিল এটা ফটাফট ওগুলো ম্যাডাম করে সাহায্য না না একটা মার্কস একটা ল্যাবে দিয়ে তো মার্কস করে একটা ল্যাবে দিয়ে তো মার্কস করে